So all
And
those
I like
things
that
happen
idea
at
of like
once.
putting our energy there and not focusing on, people who might, try to argue or try to, but, put our energy into people that are looking for change and looking for movement and, want to see, these positive things happening in their community because they see hate happening around them and they want to do something about that. And so I just love that message that Not in Our Town has, in terms of just trying to build this movement at a community level, bringing allies in, bringing community stakeholders in, and trying to build this change from the ground up. So I just really love that. We clearly have a long way to go with this and doing this work. And the hope is really that one day, we don't all have to live in a world where there's hate and things are more just and equitable for everyone around us in our community. What do you foresee as needing to happen to get us there? Obviously, the movement's one piece of it. Kind of, what do you see us needing to do to try to get us to that space?
Well, I, I think that, first of all, I think we have to look at hate speech. I think we have to look at gun violence. We're up against both the First and Second Amendment and how we interpret them. Just if you look at the big picture, um, our Constitution has changed over time, right?
Mm.
Women didn't have the right to vote. We were founded as a slave owning state. We started with the genocide of indigenous people. We have built a democracy that can change. And right now, we are in a crisis with both gun violence and hate speech. And so, how can we keep those rights, which are essential to our democracy, many believe are essential to our democracy, and yet keep them within the context of this current moment, so that everyone can feel safe from the dangers of hate? I think that what happens locally will make all the difference in the world. I mean, we hope that the federal government will do something, will provide funding, will provide the frame for people to take action, provide the messaging pulpit, right? For something that is not hate speech on a daily basis, right? But engaging in inclusion. But really, what happens at the local level is those innovations and those changes can move from one town to another and create the real force that makes a difference in people's lives. And so I think where we are right now, local, is where it's at. It's where we need to do the work. So I'm really grateful to the two of you for the time and energy in thinking about this and supporting your listeners in this endeavor to think about what their role is in addressing this huge problem.
Yeah, well, thank you. And, thank you so much for your time today. Just the work that you're doing is so important. And really, all the resources that you shared today. We always love kind of wrapping up our season with this type of information, just actionable items for people. And obviously, we'll put the website on our website as well. But before we say goodbye to you and our listeners, what are some organizations or groups that are doing this work that you recommend that we follow as well, in addition to Not in Our Town?
So I would say for parents, Facing History and Ourselves has some important resources. I think there's a group called Welcoming America that does work for immigrant integration. I think that there are, um, at on a national level, there are a lot of amazing civil rights organizations. So if you look at the Leadership Conference for Civil and Human Rights, you'll find these tremendous resources. I think, let me think about that and send you some organizations that
Yeah.
that we follow. And I think in this moment, the people who are monitoring hate incidents, we need to pay more attention to that, and people need to know
Sure.
sort of where to go so they can report them. Um, and in case I haven't said it, please know that on our site there are films that people can use to launch a discussion. So that's something that's available to folks, and you can go in, find the films, and we'll send you. I think I sent you a flyer maybe of a few of them that can start the discussion. So you're not just starting from scratch. You're starting with a
Gotcha.
story, right?
Yeah.
Starting
Thank
with
you.
a story.
Well, Patrice, thank you so much for coming on with us today. You shared so much important information, and I hope our listeners are excited to head to your website. I'm like, want to go on and get a sign and stick it outside and start some conversations. So, thank you so much. And to our listeners, we have one more episode coming up next week. It's actually our wrap-up episode for season 2. So, please join us. It's going to be kind of, a wrap up of everything we spoke about this season. Some pretty heavy topics with extremism and white nationalism and Christianity, and hopefully, ending with this episode where we're learning what we can do at a community level to start fighting some of this hate. So, Patrice, thank you so much for that. Listeners, we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.